evening, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to be back tonight. I have been out for like a couple of days. Anyway, while you guys are not yet there, I know that the notification takes a bit of a minute or two, so we'll wait for you. And then we'll be starting this conversation. Our topic for tonight is all about Motivation Monday, and it's all about risks. All right, so we'll wait for you to pick up the notification and let's start this conversation. Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry I cannot see your names, but I can definitely see that there are pictures up there. So if you have the courage to take the risk of saying hi and hello, you can post them in the comment box below. And you can definitely join this conversation. You can share your experiences, you can share your comments, you can share your whatever you want to share. For as long as it's connected to the topic, or if you have anything that you have in mind that you want to speak about, then feel free to post them there. Once again, welcome to Motivation Mondays, and I'm Irene, a licensed real estate broker in the Philippines, a motivational speaker and a writer. And thank you so much for constantly joining this podcast, this live podcast episodes. We've been doing this since April, I guess, if I remember it correctly. So we've been doing this for the past couple of months, and we've also uploaded some of the episodes on YouTube. So if you have time, if you just wanna watch on your TVs, then you can definitely just log into your YouTube account, and then you can watch the podcast episodes. And there, so we will be talking about calculated risks. All right. So, again, shout outs to all those who are watching live. And I'd also like to greet those who are watching via replay. Thank you so much for watching, even though it's not live. Thank you so much for constantly supporting the podcast episodes. So also, even though you're not watching live, you can definitely post your comments, your questions, your recommendations, your experiences that you would like to share, or any thought that comes to mind while you're listening to this podcast episode. So this is all for you. So we will really appreciate your comments and whatever you have in mind that you would like to share. All right. So we'll start by finding our topic for tonight. Our topic for tonight is all about the top 10 reasons why you should take calculated risks. Okay, calculated, hindi naman basta-basta risk lang, mabuwis buhay na risk, hindi naman ganun lang. Okay, so we are going to talk about calculated risk, but first we have to define what is a risk. So according to the dictionary, it's a situation involving exposure to danger. Okay, so kaya maraming ayaw sa risk kasi medyo delikado, medyo dangerous. Okay, when it comes to talking about risks. Okay, I'm sorry for the light. It's really bothering me too. The reflection. Okay, so yeah, ano natin siya. Anyway, so what is a calculated risk then? So according to Forbes.com, it's the ability to deal with incomplete information and act on a risky option that requires skill to actualize challenging but realistic goals. Okay, so realistic naman yung goals. We don't just deal with risks. We also have the skill to do it. And also remember, it's challenging, but they're realistic goals. Hindi tayo magre-risk ng basta-basta. That's why it's called calculated. You know what the outcomes are gonna be, and what are the challenges that lie ahead. What are the possible problems that you will be encountering. So yun yung ibig sabihin ng calculated risks. That's why it's calculated. Hindi siya yung basta-bastang maglalakad ka lang sa, ano ba tawag doon? Sa riles ng tren. Hindi ganon. Diba? So, hindi ganon. Ang pag-uusapan natin tonight is all about calculated risk, meaning we know the possible outcomes, we know the risks that we will be taking, but we have the skill to do it. Okay? So, there. All right. So, to appreciate risks in our lives, just imagine if there weren't people who were willing to take the risks. Wala siguro tayong doktor na gumagamot sa atin, walang magpapaanak, 'di ba? Walang tama, 'di ba? Walang magtutulong sa manganganak, 'di ba? Walang mag-oopera kasi it's very risky, right? Very risky procedures. So just imagine if everybody doesn't want to take risks. Kung lahat tayo ayaw ng risk, walang magiging improvement sa mga buhay natin. There will be no developments if people did not take risks. So risks are really, really, really important in our lives. But the point is this. Why are there so many people who don't want to take risks? Kasi ang sabi nila, this is not for me. Most people will always say that, risks are for somebody else, but it's not for me. But the point is, every single time that we wake up to a brand new morning, we are actually exposed to different risks. Kahit nga sa loob ng bahay, di ba, merong risk. Pag lumabas ka ng bahay, meron ding risk. Pag pumasok ka sa opisina, maraming risk. Anywhere and everywhere you go, there are actually risks. Di ba? Sabi nga nila, may mga nagka-COVID. Speaking of risk, di ba? May mga nagka-COVID kahit na naka-lockdown, kahit nasa loob lang sila ng bahay nila. So, ibig sabihin, anywhere we go, there is really a potential to be exposed to different kinds of risks. But the point is this. The question really is, ano yung calculated risks natin? Okay, so if you're going to, for example, you're going to the grocery, well, calculated risk yun. Alam mo na pag pumunta ka sa grocery, may expose ka, and you never know who has COVID or, diba, who has just recently healed from COVID, or baka may mga carrier, but you still go to the grocery. What will you do? Maglalagay ka ng mask, mag-double mask ka, maglalagay ka ng face shield, and some even wear their PPEs. Kasi alam mo yung risk na papasukin mo. So that's what we mean by calculated risk. Hindi siya random na hindi natin pinag-isipan yung pinasok natin. So, again, if you feel that you are not capable of taking risks, just imagine if the world did not have people who took the risks for us. So, meaning, everyone has the capability of actually taking risks. Lahat tayo may capability na mag-undergo or mag-undertake ng risk. It's really up to us. It's really up to our mindset. Now, let me talk about the top 10 reasons why we should take calculated risks. Okay? The first one is, it opens to new possibilities and opportunities. Siyempre, kapag calculated yung risks, okay, you are opening up your possibilities and opportunities. Kasi, alam mo na kahit na risky siya, pero every risk kasi comes with an opportunity. It doesn't come as it is lang. It doesn't come alone. It always has an opportunity. So risks, calculated risk, meron diyang learnings kang makukuha, meron kang opportunities na makukuha, meron kang mga bago, maybe nakilala, na makukuha from taking those calculated risks. Okay, another reason why we should take calculated risk is because there's always something to gain. We always ask ourselves this, what if it doesn't work? Okay, sino yung mga guilty dyan? What if it doesn't work? Di ba ganyan tayo eh? Bago pa natin i-try, tinatanong na agad natin yung sarili natin, what if it doesn't work? But let me ask you tonight, what if it works? Paano natin malalaman? If we're not taking the risk, then we will never know the answer. Okay? So, there's always something to gain. Whether it's knowledge, whether it's skill, whether it's a new person, or a new connection, or whatever it is, there's always something to gain from that particular calculated risk. Next is, another reason why you should take calculated risk is because inaction will get you nowhere. Kung wala kang gagawin, walang kahihinatnan. Okay, if you don't do anything, it will lead you nowhere. Wala kang mapupuntahan kung wala kang gagawin. Simple lang naman yun, di ba? Very straightforward. Inaction will lead you nowhere. Next is it also builds courage and bravery. Now, when I was assigned to different countries, I usually have zero idea. I've never been there. Okay, so in my past life, saan-saang bansa ako na-assign. Okay, but the point being is every time I fly to a different country, I have zero idea what it's gonna be in real life. Kasi syempre, I've done my research. I have studied about it first. Bago ako pumupunta sa kahit na saan. Tinag-aralan ko naman yan eh. Pero, I never know what exactly or how exactly it feels like dun sa actual. Kasi hindi pa naman talaga ako nakakarating dun eh. So, pag may pupuntahan ako bago, alam ko yung battlefield. Pero yung actual na feeling na nandoon ako, hindi ko alam. Kasi I've never been there. But the point is, each time I go there, I prove something to myself. That I'm brave, that I'm courageous, that I can do it. So, madalas sinasabi natin na kaya ng iba, kaya mo din gawin. Pero, ang point ko naman dito is, dun ko ma-realize na di ko naman kailangang i-compare yung sarili ko sa ibang tao. Pero, nako-compare ko yung sarili ko sa previous self ko na timid, na medyo natatakot, ganyan. And at the same time, even if I'm really scared, I still do it anyway. So that's what I learned. You don't let your fear stop you because fear is actually a normal feeling. Whenever you take calculated risks, you should be scared. Totoo naman yun. Kailangan takot ka. Kasi yung takot na yun, it's a normal human reaction to something that you do not necessarily know. Or you know, pero hindi mo talaga alam yung pasikot-sikot nung pupuntahan mong yon. But the thing is, eventually once you're there, your fear will slowly dissolve once your bravery kicks in. Yun yung na-realize ko all these years na hindi naman pala talaga pwedeng mawala ng basta-basta or mawala ng tuluyan yung fear natin. But we will only be stronger. Okay? Nagiging mas malakas lang tayo. Pero yung fear natin, andun pa rin siya because again, it's a normal human feeling. It's a normal human reaction. If you don't fear, mas nakakatakot yun. Kasi yung brain mo, dapat nino-notify ka niya kapag may fear. Okay? So again, it's a normal human reaction, but you shouldn't let it overcome you. Dapat ikaw yung mag-overcome sa fear. Okay? Wag mo masyadong ini-embrace yung fear. Wag ka masyado palang nagpapasaklaw sa fear. Dapat ini-embrace mo siya, pero at the same time, kino-conquer mo din siya. Okay? Next is, okay, I'm not sure if this will encourage you to take calculated risk. But, if you do this, you're also inspiring yourself and you're also inspiring others to do the same. I'm not sure if you're a believer of inspirations, but I am a believer of inspirations. In fact, one of you out there may be inspired by some of the podcast episodes. That's why you're here. Diba? So I'm a big believer of inspirations. And the thing is, each time na meron tayong tinitake na risk, meron tayong nai-inspire na isa pang tao. And if it's not really another person, who we really inspire, the first person that we inspire is actually ourselves. Na-inspire tayo na, may nagawa akong isang risky thing today. Maybe I can do it again tomorrow and the day after that. And next week, next year, ganyan, diba? Na-inspire tayo na mag-move forward with our lives, taking bigger risks each time. Hi, Ma'am Cla! Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you po. Okay. Next is high success rate if your calculations are accurate. Again, that's why it's called calculated risk. Pinag-aralan mo siya. Hindi siya isang random thing na tumalon ka lang galing sa building at ini-expect mo na may mag-save sa'yo. Hindi naman siya ganon. Okay? So, that's why it's calculated risk. Kapag mga calculated risk, even in business, maraming risk na tinitake ang business. Just like people, no? People have risks to face. Businesses too. But the big similarity is that if it's a calculated risk, mataas yung success rate niya. That's why it's important to calculate the risk. Pag-aralan maigi bago mo i-take yung risk na yon. So recently, I was talking to several friends and some of them are jumping ships. Tama ba? Jumping ships yung tawag. Lipat sila ng work, ganyan. Or magbe-build sila ng business. And this is what I told them. You don't need an advice from me. You only need to calculate the risk. Kailangan mo lang alamin kung winning ka ba sa risk na yan. Kasi if not, my advice would be, don't proceed if you haven't calculated anything yet. Okay? Hindi mo naman kailangang mag-jump agad. But you really have to calculate your risk first. No? Alamin mo muna kung mas mataas ba yung possibility na mag-succeed yung gagawin mo. Kasi kung hindi, sayang naman kung magtitake ka. But the point is, another thing is that you will never know until you try. Right? Okay. Next is, it increases independence and individuality. And a very good point about calculated risk is that we feel independent. At the same time, we also feel that, we are not necessarily alone, but we know that we are standing on our own 2 feet. Yun yung maganda sa calculated risk. And I'm talking about personal calculated risks, no? Kasi obviously, we are talking about how to motivate ourselves on a Monday. So again, it increases independence and individuality. It's important to know that we can stand on our own 2 feet, even though we know na we cannot really succeed on our own. Obviously, hindi pwedeng mag-isa lang tayo. But we are independent enough to take the risks on our own. And ito pa, and we are brave enough to face the consequences just in case it doesn't work out. And we don't blame anyone. So yun pa yung isa. If we have already calculated the risks, at the end of the day, we don't blame anyone. We just blame ourselves because we know that we are actually the one who decided to do it. Okay, next is, you already have a competitive advantage. Ano ba yung competitive advantage? In business, ito yung meron ka na wala sa iba. So, sa mga tao, meron din tayong ganon. We also have our own competitive advantage. We have characteristics, we have talents, we have skills, which other people do not have. And it's important to know these competitive advantage that you have. Kasi if you know them, you can use them to your advantage. So you can use your competitive advantage to your advantage. You cannot use something that you do not know that you have, diba? So dapat alam natin, no, i-assess natin yung mga skills natin, yung mga talents natin. Kasi madalas sinasabi natin wala tayong talent, wala tayong skill, pero actually meron. Kalalagmatin wala. Dapat alamin natin kung ano yung mga yon. Alright? Okay, so next is overcome your fears. Another reason why we have to take calculated risk is we are able to overcome our fears. And as I've mentioned earlier on, fears are normal. They're a normal human emotion. Every person has to have it. Otherwise, we are not normal. We are not human beings. Okay, we may be aliens. So, dapat meron talagang fear because it's a signal that we have limitations. But the point is, you don't really have to let fear overcome you. You have to overcome your fear. Okay, not the other way around. And of course, you'll develop a mindset for success and reach a higher standard for yourself if you know how to take calculated risk. Develop a mindset for success. Well, we can never be successful if we don't actually take risks. Kung lagi lang tayong nasa loob ng bahay, tapos nag-i-imagine lang tayo ng mga gusto nating ma-achieve, tapos wala naman tayong ginagawa. Diba? Wala naman tayong ginagawa para ma-achieve yung yung mga goals natin, hindi tayo magsasucceed. So, it's important to calculate your risk and then go ahead, do it because you can. Every person has a gift. Every person has a talent. Every person has skill. But just in case you don't have any of those, you know what's the good thing? You can actually learn them. These days, we have an abundance of knowledge. Bawal na tayo maging ignorant kasi ang dami ng information all around us and it's just waiting for us to access them. So, pag sasabihin natin na wala tayong talent sa ganito, wala tayong talent sa ganito, pwede nating pag-aralan. But the point is, ang nangyayari sa atin is, we do not go beyond what we can already do because we let fear overcome us. Not the other way around. Di baliktad. Lagi tayong natatakot bago pa tayo mag-try. So, ang nangyayari, hindi na natin siya ginagawa. Nagkakaroon tayo ng analysis paralysis. Panay lang ang analyze. What if it doesn't work? What if? But let me tell you this, what if it works? Paano mo malalaman, diba? What if it works? So again, calculate your risks. If the risk is worth it, then you must take it. Okay? So, syempre, depende pa rin yan, no? Depende pa rin yan sa situation mo. Depende pa rin yan sa risk na iti-take mo. Pero again, you have to assess if it's worth it, then you decide what to do with it. Alright, so I hope that you learned a thing or two from our podcast episode tonight. It's Motivation Monday and the top 10 reasons why you should take calculated risk. I hope you were able to pick up some insights and apply it to your own lives. And I hope that if this video has been significant to you or it has helped you in one way or another, you can also share this on your Facebook account so that we can also share this to people who might be needing to hear the words that I said earlier on. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy, and God bless you all. Bye. Thank you.